time by Caracas is 6 p.m. and this is CBX Business News. The business news headlines are brought to you by QMax Wealth Management, making more possible. Governance concerns emerge. Guyana pushes smarter investment and Russia cuts rates. Good evening and welcome to CBX Business News for Friday, June 19, 2026. I'm Rashel Moncrieffe. Thanks for joining us. Coming up, the case involving Cabinet Minister Andrew Wheatley is raising major governance and accountability concerns after allegations of illicit enrichment emerged. Also ahead, Guyana's finance minister is urging smarter and more strategic investment decisions as the country navigates rapid economic expansion. And later, the Bank of Russia cuts interest rates but signals it will maintain a tight monetary stance as inflation risks remain elevated. Stay with us as we unpack these stories and more right after the break.
Caribbean dreams, instant turmeric tea. What you put in is what you get out. What you put in is what you get out. Yeah. Build up your body, boost up your brain. Take on the world now. Say bye-bye pain. Caribbean dreams, instant turmeric tea. Be good to you. Caribbean dreams, instant turmeric tea. Distributed by Amalgamated Distributors Limited.
The local news is brought to you by Derrimon Trading, better from the start. The Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments. Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with developments that could raise fresh questions about Jamaica's governance environment and the country's long-term investment image. Serious concerns are now emerging after the Integrity Commission, IC, recommended that Cabinet Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley face 4 criminal charges, including the corruption offense of illicit enrichment, following a years-long investigation into his financial affairs. According to findings released on Wednesday, investigators say Wheatley accumulated assets far beyond his reported lawful income, with the probe identifying roughly 352 million Jamaican dollars in assets and expenditures against declared earnings of just 187 million, creating an unexplained gap of approximately $164 million. In a press conference on Thursday, opposition leader Mark Golding says the seriousness of the findings now demands immediate attention.
In the scheme of things, what really matters is Jamaica's reputation, our image, internationally and locally, and upholding the rule of law and decency in public life. The Prime Minister has a responsibility to lead in that regard. and cannot continue to embrace somebody in his cabinet who has these serious charges pending against him. So I am hoping that others will see the need for the status quo to change. If we want Jamaica to become a stronger society, to attract more investment from sources that are reputable and who we would like to do business with, and so on, we can't allow our state of affairs in government to degenerate in a serious way like this.
Meanwhile, fresh questions are emerging over transparency in Jamaica's cement import market after concerns surfaced following the government's recent decision announced by Investment Minister Senator Aubin Hill to expand cement import approvals amid the country's ongoing supply shortage. Golding says a leading businessman has raised concerns that import quotas were granted to several entities without any clear or transparent application process being communicated to other potential market players.
I received a strong complaint from a leading businessman in the country about the new policy relating to cement imports into Jamaica, where cement import licenses have been granted to various players, including a large quota for a non-Jamaican company, and it was not through any transparent process. That was his complaint, that he wasn't aware that there was any opportunity to apply. This hearing, and he's in a relevant business that would have had an interest if it was open to persons to apply to be allocated a quota. Nothing like that happened, and he said, if this is how NARA is going to operate, dog nyam with supper. So already I think the private sector are concerned about aspects of the same type of issues, not identical issues, but the same broad issues that we were raising around the lack of accountability and transparency that's inherent in the NARA structure.
That was Jamaica's opposition leader, Mark Golding. Jamaica may need an entirely new set of investment tools if it is serious about converting diaspora wealth into long-term capital for economic growth. That's the view emerging from Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, Livingston Morrison. He says while overseas Jamaicans continue to contribute billions of dollars to the local economy through remittances, significantly larger pools of capital could remain out of reach without investment structures specifically designed to attract diaspora participation.
And that's what is necessary at this point in time, I think. If we're going to tap into the diaspora community for the East, significant investment to drive the transformation process, I think we really do need to identify specially designed instruments for that purpose. And that's a context in which the legislation to establish social enterprises, for example, will be very, very important. There are other instruments that I think might recommend themselves in terms of ideally suited for to make it attractive for diaspora community to invest. That, I think, is something we need to explore.
Morrison says the focus must shift towards building the investment framework needed to bring new diaspora-focused opportunities to market.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is committed to working with stakeholders to try and identify specifically what those opportunities are and working to bring them to market.
That was JSC CEO Livingston Morrison. In other news, Jamaican investment company Kintyre Holdings JA Limited is making a major push into the fast-growing electric vehicle market as it moves to position itself within one of the region's emerging growth industries. The company has announced a new strategic partnership with Florida-based Rush Hour Engineering to begin distributing electric vehicles in Jamaica, marking Kintyre's official entry into the EV sector. The venture will operate through Kintyre's subsidiary, Affinity Ventures Group, with the automotive division launching under the brand Affinity Automotive Group. As part of the initial rollout, the company has already imported 3 E-Lite electric sedan vehicles into Jamaica, which are expected to become available soon for public viewing and test drives. Chairman and CEO Tyrone Wilson says the partnership aligns with the company's strategy to build a stronger and more diversified business platform with an initial focus on fleet sales before expanding into the consumer market. We move to the latest updates from the JSE Equities. In Friday's trading session, the JSE market activity resulted in the trading of 113 stocks, of which 61 advanced, 36 declined, and 16 traded firm. Leading the winners are Productive Business Solution USD Ordinary Shares, KLE Group, Kintyre Holdings JA, and Epley Limited 7.25% preference shares. While leading the losers are Consolidated Bakeries Jamaica, Cygnus Credit Investments 8% preference shares due 2025 Class D, Elite Diagnostic, and 138 Student Living Jamaica variable preference. The main index advanced by 8,646.78 points to close at 354,542.95 points. The junior market index also advanced, but by 71.88 points to close at 3,030.66 points. It's time for the Market Education feature, brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards. In today's Market Education feature, we're defining the term creative destruction. Creative destruction is an economic concept introduced by economist Joseph Schumpeter in 1942. It describes how innovation drives economic progress by replacing outdated industries, technologies, and business models with newer and more efficient alternatives. This process fuels competition and encourages technological advancement within the economy. While creative destruction can cause short-term disruption, including job losses and uncertainty, it often leads to long-term economic growth, higher productivity, and improved living standards. That was the Market Education feature, brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards. And that's it for the local news segment. Please stay with us. The regional news is up next. The local news is brought to you by Derrimon Trading, better from the start. The Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
Has so much book you need for high school?
I'll show you how to make sure you have all the money for my books and even some extra. It's called budgeting, Dad. Making a budget is the most important thing you can do to track your money. It keeps a record of how much you make, how much you spend, where you spend it, and most importantly, how much you can save. Write down all your income, write down all your expenses, see where you can cut down and allot more money to more important things, like saving.
It smells so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It smells so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It smells so good right now. Don't never, ever, ever wanna calm down. No, no, no.
The fact that he lived in a closet, had one shirt, and made something of his life. The Montego Freeport is really his thing that he's most noted for having done, and the vision and having it implemented and changed the life of, the city of Montego Bay. He was chairman of Air Jamaica in 1980. Critical time. Brought about changes and started to create operational profits at Air Jamaica.
Welcome back. And now for the regional business news. Guyana's rapid economic expansion is opening new investment opportunities across multiple industries. But Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh is warning businesses against following market hype without a clear competitive advantage. Speaking at the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry's Business Breakfast Seminar earlier today, Singh says Guyana's transformation is creating major opportunities across agriculture, construction, manufacturing, technology, logistics, and services. However, he urged investors to focus on sectors where they have real expertise, warning that simply chasing industries where others appear to be succeeding could lead to poor business decisions. The finance minister says the most successful businesses will be those able to identify gaps in the market while leveraging existing skills and operational strengths. The comments come as Guyana continues to experience rapid economic growth driven by its expanding oil industry and broader private sector activity. Bermuda's government says this year's carnival generated more than 3 times its public investment, delivering an estimated $1.47 million in visitor spending across the island, more than 3 times the $444,000 invested in the event. Tourism Minister Owen Darrell revealed Thursday that the event, which ended Monday, generated significant economic activity for the country.
Carnival in Bermuda continues to demonstrate the value of investing in experiences that strengthen our tourism product, create economic opportunities for Bermudians, and showcase our culture on the international stage. Government support was not simply an investment in a weekend of events. It was investment in local artists, vendors, entrepreneurs, hospitality workers, and the many businesses that benefit from increased visitor activity. Our goal is to ensure that public investment creates meaningful opportunities for Bermudians while helping to position Bermuda as a vibrant destination capable of delivering world-class cultural and entertainment experiences.
For the carnival season, the government also provided funding to support 14 events and programs. Darrell also notes the event generated business across several sectors while attracting international visitors.
Carnival in Bermuda continues to attract visitors from overseas while generating economic activity for hotels, restaurants, transportation providers, retailers, and local businesses. The event also provides a platform for Bermudian talent, and it contributes to Bermuda's reputation as a destination capable of hosting major cultural entertainment events. Preliminary estimates project that Carnival in Bermuda 2026 will generate approximately $1.47 million in visitor economic activity, representing more than 3 times the government's direct investment.
That was Bermuda's Tourism Minister Owen Darrell. In other news, Canada is looking to expand its economic partnership with Barbados and the wider Caribbean, with new focus on clean energy, climate infrastructure, and long-term economic development. Addressing a Canada Day reception in Barbados, Canada High Commissioner Brenda Wills says Canada remains committed to building stronger economic links with the region while supporting greater resilience and new development opportunities.
Canada remains committed to supporting greater resilience and helping communities prepare for future shocks. We also deeply value our long-standing partnership with the Caribbean Development Bank. Canada remains the bank's largest contributor to concessional financing and grant support for its most vulnerable members, helping to advance sustainable development and economic opportunity across the region.
Wills says Canada will continue working with Caribbean governments and institutions to strengthen sustainable economic development across the region.
Canada continues to work alongside governments, communities, and regional organizations throughout the Caribbean to strengthen climate resilience, support sustainable economic growth, advance gender equality, and create opportunities for women and youth. Our international assistance is guided by a simple principle. Lasting progress depends on local leadership, strong institutions, and practical solutions. While Barbadian rum and Canadian maple syrup have certainly done their part over the years, the opportunities before us extend far beyond traditional trade. From clean energy and innovation to agri-tech and climate-resilient infrastructure, Canadian and Caribbean businesses are finding new ways to create growth and shared prosperity.
That was Canada's High Commissioner for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Brenda Wills. And there was no trading on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange today as the country observed Labor Day, a national public holiday marked annually on June 19. Trading is expected to resume at the exchange next Monday when normal market operations reopen. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment is up next.
We get the big contract. 50,000 units a month for 3 years. Great. Won't need help.
If you are a business owner that requires capital for the expansion of your business, talk to a registered broker today to find out more about listing your company on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, an efficient alternative to other financing options.
Thank God for the Jamaica Stock Exchange junior market.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange, providing a fair, efficient, and transparent stock market.
Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited has been a part of Jamaica's manufacturing landscape for over 20 years. By crafting unique flavors and fragrances, we have become a part of your favorite household and food items, such as beverages, ice cream, household cleaners, and much more. Known throughout the Caribbean for the highest quality, we continue to innovate with strong leadership, a dedicated team with integrity. We go the extra mile for our customers. Create the next taste sensation. Contact us at 876-9235-111 or visit our website, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn pages.
Welcome back. In international news, the Bank of Russia lowered its benchmark interest rate by 25 basis points to 14.25% at its June policy meeting, surprising markets that had expected a larger cut. The decision fell short of expectations for a 50 basis point reduction as policymakers warned that inflation risks remained tilted to the upside despite easing monetary conditions. Officials say restrictive policy settings must remain in place to ensure inflation continues moving toward target. According to the central bank, inflation pressures continue to be driven by higher global energy prices linked to Middle East tensions and rising domestic fuel costs. The bank also pointed to supply disruptions after Ukrainian attacks on Russian refineries, alongside wage growth that continues to outpace productivity gains. Policymakers added that fiscal policy has become more expansionary than previously expected, placing greater pressure on monetary policy to contain inflation. As a result, officials signaled that financial conditions will need to remain that rather tight despite the rate cut. Meanwhile, Canada is moving to tackle housing affordability pressures with a major new investment package. The Canadian federal government and the province of British Columbia have announced a major housing and infrastructure partnership aimed at boosting residential construction and lowering housing costs. Speaking in Vancouver on Thursday, Prime Minister Mark Carney described the agreement as a landmark initiative designed to reduce development costs for builders while expanding infrastructure investment. The program is expected to support new housing development across growing communities throughout the province.
So today, with the Premier, we're pleased to announce that Canada and British Columbia have reached a landmark new agreement to help build more homes, to bring down housing costs, and modernize infrastructure across the province. We'll do this by working together to reduce development charges. We will convert vacant condos into affordable housing, and we will invest in community infrastructure from schools and hospitals to public transit.
That was Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney. Officials say the partnership will also expand investments in transit and community infrastructure needed to support long-term population growth. And in commodity markets, gold prices fell to $4,150 per ounce on Friday, reaching their lowest level since June 11, as investors increased bets on tighter U.S. monetary policy. The decline followed a stronger U.S. dollar, which climbed to a one-year high after the Federal Reserve left interest rates unchanged while signaling a more hawkish policy outlook. 9 of the Fed's 19 policymakers are now expecting at least one additional rate increase this year. Financial markets are also pricing in roughly a 70% probability of a rate hike by September. Further weighing on sentiment, Goldman Sachs lowered its year-end gold forecast to $4,900 per ounce from its previous projection of $5,400. The decline came despite continued geopolitical uncertainty as investors monitored developments in the Middle East following the cancellation of scheduled U.S.-Iran nuclear talks in Switzerland. And that's it for the international segment of the newscast. The news recap is coming up on the other side of the break.
Mikey, is what sweet you saw?
Yeah, dear babes. Where's the catty? We are going party tonight.
Party? You secure your future yet? Careless.
Did you know that over time the stock market has provided a reliably high return on investments? Be sure to contact a licensed stockbroker for more information on this exciting investment opportunity.
Taking care of business, Mikey?
Yeah, Catty. I'm securing my future. Want to come look over my stock portfolio?
The Jamaica Stock Exchange, providing a fair, efficient, and transparent stock market.
And now to recap our top stories. In the local news, Andrew Wheatley illicit enrichment case raises major governance concerns. Regionally, Guyana minister urges smarter investment amid economic boom. And internationally, Russia cuts rates but maintains tight inflation stance. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Rashel Moncrieffe. Thanks for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.
I'm Shalette Cox. You're watching the Caribbean Business Exchange. Your region, your business, your source.
How may I assist you today? I want to open an account for me and my son. That's great. Let me see your document.